This is the craziest time. That's my place of work behind me, but it's not going to be for a few weeks, maybe even months. I don't know. I just don't know. I need to get in the car. The good thing is, I've always thought of myself as a pretty resilient type of person. I think this is going to test me to my absolute limits, and that's what I want to make this week's vlog about, is how to develop our mental resilience together to get through this, be able to train, be able to stay healthy, mentally and physically. So I've put together my 5 top tips for maintaining a sense of purpose through this tough time and how to find those silver linings. But before I give you those 5 tips, there are also a couple of things that we probably need to consider before we implement them. And I like to call those the considerations, because they're the things that... The first one is that a friend of mine, or in fact a few friends of mine who have either been in the armed forces or are in the armed forces, keep saying to me a phrase that is improvise, adapt, overcome, or adapt, improvise, overcome. I can't remember which way round it is, but the end is always overcome, and the point I'm making, the point I'm making here first is that we are going to come out the other end of this, and we are going to come out of it stronger, but we need to have that in our mindsets. We're going to have to roll with the punches, we're going to have to be adaptable if we're going to get through this positively. So we need to think along the lines of how we improvise, how we adapt, and then overcoming. Possibly more important than that is that regular high intensity training will suppress our immune system, and that should be a huge consideration for us if we want to stay healthy long term and train long term. That perhaps you should limit the amount of high intensity training you do to once, maybe not even twice a week for this period. I'm not going to do very much more than this session I'm about to do, and I'm only doing it now because it's early morning and I know I'm not seeing anyone for the rest of the entire day. So whilst my immune system will be suppressed, I'm not going to be seeing anyone. So really your number one consideration should be your long-term health, because if you are healthy, then you can also look after other people as well, if needs be. Oh, I actually really enjoyed that. Endorphins are flowing. But now, it's time to get stuck in to the 5 tips. Okay, quick costume change, and this is my tip 1. It's time to start focusing on the area of probably most neglect by almost every athlete, and that is your strength and conditioning. Building a stronger body that'll do what you want it to do come the time we're allowed back out there into the real world, exercising properly with swimming and cycling and running. And I'm sure you know a particular area of weakness for me is my calves and Achilles, which I'm going to really focus on over the coming weeks so that I can actually get running again with no fear of the injury recurring. So it's time to start addressing all of those little niggles that maybe you've been trying to train through over the past few weeks, or even if you didn't have any niggles in the first place, this is the perfect opportunity to build you that stronger body that's going to be able to deal with what you're going to throw at it once you get out of here. In fact, I think I've mentioned this before, that top triathlon coach and nice guy Simon Ward has suggested that strength and conditioning should account for around 25%, if not more, of your overall training volume per week. So this is as good a time as any to start when you're trapped indoors anyway. Oh, this is a beauty. And tip 2, and probably the other, and probably the other most underrated discipline of all of this is, when I say all of this, I mean training, is nutrition. And maybe this is the perfect time and opportunity to start looking at our nutrition in a little bit more detail. We're going to have to be much more creative with our diets. We're going to have to think outside the box in terms of what we buy. We're just heading to the shop now and God knows what's going to be in there. So this is that perfect opportunity to change it up a little bit and try and find some other things that work for you, because believe me when I say that nutrition underpins all of your training or your ability to do it to the best of your abilities. Said abilities too many times there, Mary. Now that bit's just madness. That didn't quite go to plan because we've just walked around the supermarket and everything we needed was there. So we're not adapting what we're cooking really in any way, but the point still stands that it is possibly a time to be adaptive with your nutritional needs and experimenting anyway, because you're going to be spending more time at home.
Yeah, I'm going to do it after this week, get through this week as normal as we can, and then look up some recipes and think of some new things to cook.
Tip 3 is that now that we've worked on the body, it's time to focus on the mind. And one of the best ways to focus on improving your mindset is to look into some books. Now, what I'm going to do is, maybe, I don't know at this point, I'll point here and here and here and here and here, and some books may appear, but they might not. It'll depend on whether I can be bothered, if I'm honest. But I've read a lot of books recently and I tend to focus on the ones that can improve your mindset. So don't underestimate mindset and the power of using that to make you a better athlete and better person, because I really credit reading books and particularly listening to audiobooks on my commute when I used to commute a longer way to making me a better person and continually wanting to be better. And the other quick things I like to do to try and improve my mindset is I like to find inspirational YouTube videos. I like to find inspirational YouTubers or people on Instagram. For example, you have Matt Diavella, Casey Neistat, I love, Pete McKinnon, Gary Vaynerchuk. All of these people are fantastic to watch and learn from. Simon Sinek, Tony Robbins. Check some of these guys out and watch their content and try not to be inspired and try not to want to be better. And that leads me into tip 4, similar type of thing. If your races have been cancelled, which, let's be honest, there's a high likelihood that they have, especially if you're watching this channel, then what you need to do is you need to remain inspired. You need to keep the purpose burning by remaining inspired. And what I tend to do is look for other races, slightly longer term races, perhaps even ones in 2021 now, and trying to focus on those as well as the races that I have at the end of this season, just to keep myself motivated and wanting to be better and purposeful and not disappointed. Start focusing on what's coming ahead, and that gives you a massive chance of being able to survive this in a better way. Again, it's all looking for those silver linings. And tip 5, which we're all going to need now more than ever, is we need to find new ways to connect during this time of disconnection. It shouldn't be called social distancing, it should be physical distancing, because the need for social connection is stronger than ever right now. So seek different opportunities to connect with the ones that you love. And failing that, just have a dance in the kitchen. That conversation was a few hours ago and I am still buzzing from it. It was so important to me to be with my friends talking. It didn't feel like we weren't with each other, in proximity to each other. We were there. It was just brilliant. And finding connection in this time of disconnection is going to be more vital than ever, and we're going to have to innovate and find new ways of doing it. But actually, again, we can view that as an exciting time. As Gary Vee put it recently, this is lemonade time. We've been dealt the biggest bunch of lemons in our known lifetimes, and it's time to make the biggest batch of lemonade out of it that we can. So whilst it is not ideal, and whilst we have to be super sensible because it is our responsibility to look after the weak and vulnerable in society, so although we're being sensible about it, let's just make a big old batch of lemonade. Anyway, I hope that these tips have helped you. They are just from inside my brain, the things that I'm trying to do to make sure that I stay positive, that I stay a radiator and not a drain, which is really important to me. These are the ways that I'm trying to do that. These are the ways that I'm trying to keep everybody else encouraged and motivated. And between us as a community, we got this, people. I'll see you Tuesday.